This shit is about to get real. What's up, YouTube? It's your boy Nash here. Welcome back to the channel. I just watched NXT. At the time that I'm recording this video, it's Tuesday, November 16th, literally at 7 p.m. right now. And you guys are wondering, why am I doing this on a Tuesday? We have somebody coming over to take photos. I don't know what the hell. I don't know what the hell. I know it's none of my business. So, yeah. But anyway, we have our first War Games match, and it's between Team Kai and Team Shirai. Absolutely nuts. Absolutely fucking insane. I'm excited for War Games. I'm excited, but right now, it is not about War Games. It is all about Survivor Series. And we got my predictions. So, the card as it stands right now is Team Raw versus Team SmackDown for both the men's and for the men's and the women's match. We have Roman Reigns versus Big E, Becky Lynch versus Charlotte Flair, RK-Bro against the Usos. And the first one that I'm going to talk about, which is Damian Priest versus Shinsuke Nakamura. Excuse me, which it's literally the best versus the best. Raw's champions versus SmackDown's champions. This one's going to be pretty cool because Damian Priest is a man who is based on respect. He's a man of respect, a man of integrity, as is Shinsuke Nakamura, as is Shinsuke. They're both men of integrity, and honestly, this is going to be very intriguing. This is going to be very intriguing because Damian Priest has been U.S. champion since SummerSlam, which was just a few months ago, and Shinsuke Nakamura has been Intercontinental Champion for about that, actually, crazy enough, for about that, which is kind of crazy. But if you think about it, both of them specialize in striking capabilities. The only question is, who's better at striking? Is it Damian Priest or is it Shinsuke? Me personally, I'm a fan of both these guys, but if I have to pick one, I gotta go with Shinsuke, mainly because of the experience factor. The experience that Shinsuke has, not just being in NXT, but also being on the main roster. I've been on SmackDown since the SmackDown after WrestleMania in 2017, if I remember correctly, and he's been a part of SmackDown ever since. So I could definitely see Shinsuke winning against Damian Priest. RK-Bro versus the Usos. This is where it boggles my mind because the Usos, they've been a team since day one. RK-Bro, they've only been teaming up. They've only been teaming for throughout this whole year. I don't even know how to describe RK-Bro, except the fact that they have been pretty good as a tag team. The only problem is the fact that Riddle, as we had seen on Raw the last few weeks, he has a tendency to stick his nose in other people's business where it don't belong. And the funny thing is that with Big E, you know, last night on Raw, at the time that I'm recording this, that I'm doing this video, of course, you know, the Usos attacked Big E, and that's what caused Riddle to get involved. That's what Seth Rollins came in to get involved. Randy Orton got involved. It was chaos last night on Raw, but this Sunday is now about brand supremacy. Who are the better tag team champions? Is it RK-Bro or is it the Usos? As crazy as it is for me to say, I gotta go with the Usos. Just because of the experience factor. As I said with Shinsuke Nakamura, it's all about the experience factor going into this match. So yeah, I gotta go with the Usos. Next up, the Raw Women's Champion versus the SmackDown Women's Champion, Big Time Bex versus Charlotte Flair. I'm gonna be perfectly honest. I feel like this should be the only title. This should be the only match that would have both titles defended. Why do I believe that? It's simple, because the last time these two were in the same ring and both titles were defended, Becky Lynch pinned Ronda Rousey to win the Raw Women's title, which was insane. And that was 2 years ago. That was 2 years ago, where we had literally 16 matches on the card. Whereas opposed to last year's WrestleMania, this past year's WrestleMania, whereas opposed to last year's WrestleMania, we had 18 matches on the fucking card. Who would ever guess? Who would ever guess? 18 matches on the card. Absolutely nuts. I don't even know how to describe it. But yeah, Becky Lynch pinned Ronda Rousey to win both the Raw and SmackDown Women's titles. I feel like it should happen again, because with this scenario, Charlotte Flair can go back to Raw if she wanted to, or as opposed to Becky Lynch, she can go back to SmackDown if she wanted to. So if something like that were to happen, I would have to say Becky Lynch. But in something like this, hands down, I gotta go with Charlotte Flair on this one. I think, honestly, SmackDown may end up winning this one, but as opposed to these next 3 matches, I don't know. We're not so sure. This one, though, I am very interested in. The Universal Champion versus the WWE Champion. The so-called head of the table versus the powerhouse of positivity, Roman Reigns versus Big E. It's a battle between the Bloodline and the New Day once again. I don't even know how to respond to this matchup. I said on Twitter last night that Big E was going to hurt Roman Reigns after what had happened last week on SmackDown. And if you know, you know. But, to be honest, I'm not thinking about it now. I really don't know if it'll happen. Hang on, guys. I'm actually, speaking of Twitter, I'm actually on Twitter right now. So I do apologize, but anyway, I feel like as if, is it possible for Big E to beat Roman Reigns? Excuse me, absolutely. It is 100% possible for Big E to beat Roman Reigns, but there's the key factor. The key factor, the Usos. They're gonna get involved. We all know how this works. Roman Reigns gets beaten up. Once he's about to get pinned for 3, Usos come in. Roman wins by a or actually, Roman's opponent wins by DQ. We all know it's gonna happen. We all know it's gonna happen because Roman Reigns is afraid to lose. There, I said it. And if that means Roman Reigns calling me out on social media, then you know what? So be it. So be it. I used to be a fan of Roman Reigns. Am I still a fan? Sort of. I just don't like this idea of him being known as the head of the table. I mean, whose table is he the head of? That's the funny thing. Whose table is he the head of? Sure as hell not my table. Who knows? All I know is that, and this is coming from me as a fan, Roman Reigns, with the exception of John Cena, has not won a match on his own. This is a match this is one of those matches that he has to win on his own. Otherwise, he will be looked down on as probably the worst Universal Champion we've had, I would say, since Goldberg. His first run, actually. So by that logic, if the Usos get involved, which we know it's going to happen, that proves my point. It proves that Roman Reigns can't do it on his own, because the Usos, well, we all know. We all know. And plus, with Reigns now having King Wood's crown, Big E's going to gun for that crown, and we all know he's going to give it back to Woods, whether he wins or whether he loses. It doesn't matter. Whether he wins or loses, either way, he will find a way to get that crown back to King Woods, because King Woods, in my eyes, is the one true king of WWE. No ifs, no ands, no buts about it. Plain simple. Plain simple. But I will say this. As far as some of his title matches, I mean, don't get me wrong, he has won a couple on his own. But let's think about this for a minute. Let's look back at Crown Jewel. If you look back at Crown Jewel, where he defeated Brock Lesnar, we all know, had the Usos not gotten involved, had Paul Heyman not have threw the Universal title in between Roman and Brock Lesnar would have become Universal Champion. Look back at Extreme Rules. We all know if it was not for the Usos, and if it wasn't for that freak accident with the top rope, the Demon Finn Balor would be Universal Champion. We know it. So who do I think is going to win this one? It's hard to say, because both these guys are incredible champions, but Roman Reigns needs to win this match on his own to prove that he can be the most dominant champion we've had in a long time. If Big E wins, what does that say about Roman Reigns? That's the big question. What does that right there is the big question, and I think we will find out this Sunday. But I'm gonna go with Big E. I'm gonna go with Big E. I side with positivity. I don't side with sore losers. I side with positivity, and Big E is a positive guy, so I'm going with Big E on this one. Now we move on into the men's and women's Survivor Series matches. If you guys are new to watching WWE and have never seen a Survivor Series match before, the rules are simple. The match starts with one superstar from both teams starting the match. The only way to be eliminated is by pinfall, submission, count out, or disqualification. Once you are eliminated, you go back to the locker room, and the match goes on. This goes on until all the members of one team have been eliminated, and the remaining members of one team will be declared the winners and the sole survivors. Now, over the years, there have been multiple scenarios where it was always 5-on-1, 4-on-1, 3-on-2, 5-on-2, 3-on-3. There would be so many different scenarios. 1-on-1. There have been times where it was 1-on-1. Go back to, what was it? Survivor Series 2019, where it was where it became a triple threat. 1-on-1-on-1. Seth Rollins from Raw, Roman Reigns from SmackDown, and at the time, Keith Lee from NXT, and it came down to Reigns and Lee, Reigns picking up the victory for SmackDown. Look back to last year's Survivor Series, where it was a clean sweep for Raw, as they beat SmackDown in a clean sweep as far as the men's match goes. This is going to be interesting, because if you look at the teams for Raw, you look at the men's side, you have Seth Rollins, Finn Balor, Kevin Owens, a much more revitalized Kevin Owens, if you will, Bobby Lashley, and Austin Theory. You guys are wondering, wait a minute, what about the Mysterios? Adam Pearce, he decided to remove Dominic Mysterio from the match last week on Raw, and then this week removed Rey Mysterio and replaced both of them with Bobby Lashley and Austin Theory. Do I agree with Austin Theory? No. Honestly, I don't, because Austin Theory, he's too young, he's too brash, he's too cocky. I don't think it was wise for Raw to draft Theory back to Raw. I don't think it was wise because even back then, go back to last year when he debuted on Raw initially, he got way too cocky, and it got to the point. And it got to the point where WWE had no choice but to send him back to NXT, and he became a much more different person than we thought. Now that he's back, he's the same Austin Theory that we saw last year, only worse. But do I agree with Lashley being on the team? Absolutely. It's very rare that Lashley would be on a Survivor Series team. And the reason why hang on. The reason why is because there only been a couple times where Lashley was a part of a Survivor Series team. The only other time, as far as I remember, the only other time that he was in a Survivor Series on a Survivor Series match was all the way back in 2005. 2005 when he was still a rookie on in WWE. He was a part of SmackDown, and if I remember correctly, let's see. Let's see. If I remember right, let me take a look. Let me take a look online. Because as far as I remember, yeah, so Lashley was a part of Team SmackDown, and the match went as this. For Team Raw, you had Shawn Michaels, who was the captain of Team Raw, Carlito, the Raw Tag Team Champions at the time, or I guess now Raw Tag Team Champions. At that time, Kane and the Big Show, and the Masterpiece Chris Masters. SmackDown had Batista, the World Heavyweight Champion at the time, as the captain, Bobby Lashley, Randy Orton, JBL, and Rey Mysterio. It was a star-studded match. Randy Orton ended up pinning Shawn Michaels to win that matchup, which was absolutely nuts. I believe that was the only other time that he was in a Survivor Series match. And if I remember correctly, there was also 18? Was it? Yeah, let me check 2018. Because I think it was 2018 that he was a part of it. So 2018 was the other time that he was a part of a Survivor Series team. I'm actually looking back to see if there were any other times. Where, let's see. If I remember right, I believe that was it. But yeah, this would be, I believe, his fourth time, if I remember right? If I remember, I don't remember. I don't remember. Let's see. 2006, I believe he was not on a card. I don't think he was on any of... I don't think he was... I don't remember. It's been... Guys, I'm sorry, it's been like forever, so I don't remember much. Okay, so... alright, so it was 2005, 2006, and then 2007 was when he had left. So that's 2. And if I remember correctly, let's go to 2018. So he was in 2018. I don't think it was in 2019, if I remember correctly. Let's see. No, he was not. So I do recall this would be his 4th time in a Survivor Series match in a Survivor Series event. So this would actually be Bobby Lashley's 4th Survivor Series elimination match time. The 4th time he'll be in a Survivor Series match, which is interesting. Do I agree with it? Absolutely, because he's a former WWE champion, so you can't really go wrong with that. But SmackDown, on the other hand, or actually, sorry, no. Now for the women, you have Bianca Belair, Rhea Ripley, Liv Morgan, Carmella, and Queen Zelina, which is interesting given the fact that you have what? You have the only woman in history to hold the Raw, NXT, and NXT UK women's titles and the women's tag team titles in a single career in Rhea Ripley. You have two former SmackDown women's champions in Carmella and Bianca Belair. You have the Queen of WWE, Zelina Vega, and you also have the upstart Liv Morgan, who's been on quite the roll as of late. Especially from this past year, she's been on quite the roll. Now for SmackDown's team, for the men's side, you have Drew McIntyre as the captain, Jeff Hardy, King Woods, Happy Corbin, and a mystery partner. We don't know who the fuck he is. We'll probably find out this Friday. Which my theory, no pun intended, with Austin Theory. My theory on this one is that it could very may well be Ricochet, which is possible because he was in 2019's show, which is very possible. But there are others as well, which you never know. You never know. Now for the women's side, we have Sasha Banks as the captain, Shayna Baszler, Shotzi, Natalya, and originally it was supposed to have been Aaliyah, but because that Sonya Deville decided to become too power hungry and removed Aaliyah from the card. I don't know. It's looking pretty grim, but who do I think is going to win from both? For the men's side, you really can't bet against Raw, but if Team SmackDown can eliminate Lashley right off the bat, they may have a chance, but you never know. But as far as the women's side, easily I gotta go with SmackDown on this one because of the fact that SmackDown's team has 2 seasoned veterans in Sasha Banks and Natalya, in which we don't know exactly who will be the 5th member. It could potentially be Toni Storm, but it can also be Naomi if Sonya Deville was smart to put her on the card, but she probably won't. Or, and it's a high possibility, we could even see Xia Li on this card, which is very possible, but only time will tell. But overall, I think this card is going to be incredible. I really don't know who is going to win with the men's and women's Survivor Series teams. I think for the women, it has to be SmackDown. The men's side, I've God, oh, that's a hard one. I gotta go with Raw on this one, just because they've got Bobby Lashley. So, but that brings me to the question of the day: what are your guys' predictions for Survivor Series as far as the card, as the card sits right now? What are your predictions? Let me know in the comments below. And that is going to do it for this video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you did, make sure you guys smash that thumbs up button. If you guys are new to the channel and you guys want more pay-per-view predictions in the foreseeable future, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell so you guys do not miss out on any new content that comes your way. And be sure to follow me on Twitter and Instagram. All the links will be in the description below. And if you guys have any fan mail that you want to send me and want me to open up on the channel, my address will also be in the description as well. And on that, this is your boy Nash, signing out.